If you are a video content creator or a photographer, what if you could work faster with just one lens? One that gives you beautiful background blur, fast autofocus, and pro-level quality without constantly swapping prime lenses or spending a fortune. Sigma has released the world's first full-frame zoom lens with an f1.8 aperture, with a controversial and interesting focal length, ranging from 28 to 45 millimeters. It caught my attention and I had to test it out for photos and videos to see how it really performs and if it's truly worth the money for you. This lens was released in June 2024 and it's part of Sigma's Art series, which means you're looking at a premium product, top quality in every way, starting from the optics and autofocus all the way to the materials used. Right now, the Sigma 28-45 f1.8 DG/DN Art is available for Sony E-mount and L-mount for Panasonic and Leica. And a lot of people online are saying that Sigma designed this as the full-frame version of the legendary 18-35 f1.8, which is a really popular crop sensor lens. On a 1.6x crop sensor, that lens becomes a 29-56 millimeter. This new 28-45mm f1.8 is a full-frame lens, basically replacing 3 or 4 prime lenses, all at f1.8, 28mm, 35, 40, and 45mm, which is almost like having a 50mm prime. It's like an all-in-one lens, and when you see it from this perspective, the fact that it weighs 2.09 pounds or 950 grams for the Sony version, it doesn't feel too much. I tested this lens with the Sony a7R Mark V, a beast of a camera which weighs 1.59 pounds or 723 grams. So this combo has a total of 3.68 pounds or 1673 grams. I know it's a heavier setup for some of you, but an f1.8 lens comes at a cost, not just in terms of price, but also in weight. It has more glass inside, plus it's made from premium materials like aluminium and TSC, which is a lightweight but very durable plastic. I like the fact that Sigma provides this nice lens hood as well, which is useful if your main thing is to take photos in bright sunny days, for example. The zoom ring moves smoothly, just like the focus ring, and you've got a good grip on both, so no complaints there. The aperture can be manually adjusted from f1.8 to f16 with a lock option for auto or manual, and you can even choose between having clicks or no clicks at all. You will also find the switch for manual and autofocus here, but keep in mind it doesn't have built-in image stabilization. The solution in this case is the camera's IBIS. You just have to enable steady shot from the menu and set it to standard. The IBIS handles the job well with this lens at 28 and 45 millimeters, keeping the small shakes under control. The A mark for the Art series is of course present, along with 2 customizable buttons depending on the camera you're using. And a really important detail for those who shoot video and sometimes focus manually, the focus motor on this lens is linear. And if you want the best grip possible, I recommend you this very accessible product, which is a rubber focusing ring. You just need to measure the lens diameter and choose the right fit for your lens. The grip becomes unbeatable when using this rubber. It's a very affordable product that I always recommend for video shooters. It makes it incredibly easy to pull focus with just one finger in manual mode. With an 82mm filter size on this lens, I also recommend grabbing a variable ND filter from 1 to 5 stops. That way, when you're filming wide open at f1.8 in bright sunlight, you can still maintain a smooth and natural motion blur. This is the filter that I like to use. It's the Nisi True Color Variable ND filter. You'll find all the products from this video in the description. If you use my affiliate links, I earn a small commission, but it doesn't cost you anything extra. Thank you. So like I said earlier, the focal length range of 28 to 45 millimeters is pretty interesting. From what I've noticed, the difference really stands out when you're shooting subjects up close. At 28 millimeters, the field of view is not wide enough for some of you, I know, but the corners of the image stretch a bit, giving you that slight wide-angle feel. And at 45 millimeters, the planes start to feel more compressed, and you're getting closer to a great focal length for portraits, product photography, architecture, and so on. And this applies to videos as well. You can get really good footage with this lens with a very nice compression of the planes and some beautiful separation between the subject and the background. Zooming in from 28 to 45 millimeters is kind of like taking those 2 extra steps toward your subject when you can't physically get closer. And with 61 megapixels on the Sony a7R Mark V, you have tons of cropping power, so a lot of freedom to reframe in post-processing. The minimum focus distance is 30 centimeters with a 1:4 magnification ratio, and thanks to the 11 aperture blades, you get an incredibly smooth blur. I've tested a lot of lenses over the years, but the bokeh from this one really impressed me. I don't know exactly why, maybe it's because of the 11 blades or the excellent contrast, but I would love to see this lens come to the Canon RF mount as well. When recording video with this lens wide open, it creates a very nice separation of the main subject, and I really like how the blur looks. Of course, you will not shoot everything at f1.8, but for that creamy vibe for your soul and your heart, f1.8 is like a dopamine hit. Let's take a quick look at the sharpness tests. I'm paying attention to the center and the corners here. At f1.8, 28mm, the center is super sharp, and surprisingly, even the edges look really good. By f4, there's a slight improvement in the corners, but honestly, it's barely noticeable. At f8, the sharpness is consistent across the entire frame, both in the center and at the edges. At 45mm, again, f1.8 delivers good sharpness in the center, and it's pretty solid in the corners too. To be fair, you probably won't even notice much of a difference, but yeah, by f4 the corners sharpen up more, and f8 gives the best overall result. But tell me what you think in the comments. Now, if we take a look at some more exciting photos and zoom in to 100% to check the sharpness, you can really see just how good the glass is in this lens. I'm glad that I tested it on a high megapixel camera, just like I said, on the Sony a7R Mark V, because it's clear that we are dealing with a Sigma Art lens delivering premium results just as expected. Alright, let's check the focus breathing for video. Here we are at 28mm, and from what I can see, there's a bit of focus breathing, but honestly, it's not that distracting. And when you zoom into 45mm, looks like there's no focus breathing at all. But if you're someone who shoots video most of the time, like events or as an online content creator, you're definitely going to care about the autofocus speed, right? Here is a test at 28mm f1.8. Obviously, the camera you use also plays a big role, but you can clearly see that the autofocus is both fast and precise. Same goes for 45mm at f1.8. Very good results in this test as well. The autofocus is quick and reliable. And if you are a content creator and move a lot in the frame, it's the perfect lens when you record alone and you need to be sure you're always in focus. Here you can see the autofocus speed test in photo mode, and as expected, there are no issues at 28 or 45mm with this lens. I didn't notice any hunting, and the focus locks on very precisely. Of course, these tests were done at f1.8. Sigma mentions on their site that the dust and splash protection has been improved for this lens, but that's something you'll really notice after long-term testing in different conditions. So I can't say much about this. Either way, the internal zoom is a huge plus here, as it keeps the lens more protected, especially against dust. Before looking at the chromatic aberration test, you need to know that the Sigma 28 to 45mm f1.8 will cost you $1,339 right now when I'm making this video. But make sure you check the price in my description to see the offer right now, because sometimes you can get some discounts on Amazon. The thing is, you're getting a lens that covers 3 focal lengths in one, like I said, which saves you a ton of time. No more switching prime lenses, especially at events when time is so valuable and you don't want to miss important moments. It's a durable lens with amazing bokeh, and if you mostly shoot video, that fast autofocus and the constant f1.8 aperture are really a big deal. Okay, so let's see the chromatic aberration test. I took photos of this rubber band against the sun. At both 28mm and 45mm f1.8, I noticed some minimal blue fringing, but it's not too intense. If you enable Remove Chromatic Aberration in Lightroom, you can get rid of it very easily. Also, keep in mind that this was an extreme test against a harsh source of light in the background. And I know this is subjective for each one of you, but I personally like the sun stars and flares that this lens is creating at f16. Flares look cool and they are not something that bothers me at all, and I think that, especially when shooting video, they add to the vibe, and with a nice color grading, you can obtain a great look. This lens is very valuable, and it could be a very good investment if you shoot in low light situations as well. If you're dealing a lot with studio work, product photography, for portraits, you can use it zoomed in at 35 and 45 millimeters, and it's a very good lens for close-up shots as well. I agree it's not that wide at 28 millimeters, but technically speaking, to build a full-frame zoom lens at f1.8 is not an easy thing at all. Looks like Sigma is very active lately, and they started releasing lenses for the Canon RF mount as well, like the 18 to 50 millimeters f2.8. Click on this end card to check out the video that I made about that lens. I'm Christy. See you in the next one.